Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live. Hope you guys are well today. It is Wednesday. I usually don't do this on Wednesday, but when plans go wrong, and they often do, you bump it to the right. Sometimes you just have to bump things over a day and still get the same amount done in a week, but don't let that mess up your weekly plans. The good news is I don't have cancer. Had some medical tests on Monday, and they all came out clear. So that's a plus. And uh, so now I'm just making up the two lives that I typically do on Monday and Tuesday around 9 o'clock. And we take questions at the end of these. So if you have any questions, feel free to post them. Stick around. I'll answer all of them. Or if I don't answer all of them, you can email me. Or if you can't stick around, email me the question, stu@stusmith.com. I answer all my emails, so just send me an email. Happy to help you out. Huh. Let's see. Tells me I'm not going live over here for some reason, but I'm live. Weird. Hey, looks like I'm live again. All right, so that was a little weird. This is Stu Smith going live, and I hope you guys are well. I doing this on a Wednesday. Normally I don't do this on Wednesday. Normally do it on Monday and Tuesday. However, had some medical exams going on Monday and just had to bump everything to the right. And all's clear. Can't beat it. Good health. That's a good thing. Um, so the way this is going to work, I'm going to talk a little bit about the title, which is the Combat Swimmer Stroke series. It's an article. In fact, I will put it in the comment section so you guys can check this out. Let me see here. And in this article, the reason why I like to reference this article so much is it is kind of the holding place of all my swim video and article coaching. So in this one article, if you scroll down through it, you'll see topics in there that are typical problems. And so just off the top, the sequence of the stroke, the pull, the breathe, the kick, the glide, top arm, bottom arm, kick, and glide. That is the sequence that you should be saying in your head as you as you swim this stroke or learning this stroke. And so there's a sequence article in there, and it breaks it down for you on how to do it and where people go wrong typically. It's a timing issue for most. Then it's like if you have a bad kick, we got to fix your kick. There's a fix your kick article. Do you add flutter kicks or not? I recommend not constantly flutter kicking. You could really tire yourself out for the rest of the test. Now, if this was just a 500-yard swim and you didn't have to do anything else after that, absolutely. Power, kick, stroke, efficiency out the window, whatever. But, if you're just focusing on speed, you got to get in shape to be able to put out for that level. But here's the problem. If you're sprinting a 500, chances are, you're going to do that for 7, maybe even faster, 8 minutes, right? If you're really good. But here's the problem. You got pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, and a mile and a half to do next. You've sucked up a lot of your energy, your glycogen, your blood sugar, and typically those scores after that swim get worse and worse. So the rule is conservation of energy, right? You want to be as efficient and as fast as you can without blowing it all in the pool because you have 4 more events right after it. If you want to score well on all of it, if you want to just score well on the swim, by all means, flutter kick all you want, power stroke it, don't glide. You do you. But if you want to actually do well, listen to somebody who's been doing this for 25 years and coaching people, non-swimming athletes, on how to get better at actually swimming. Other things, fix your arm pulls, your top and your bottom. Top arm looks more like a freestyle catch. Your bottom arm looks more like a breaststroke scull. If you don't know what those are, Google them, because they are things. Or you could just read that article and there's links right to it and show you how to do it. Fix your glide, streamlined body position. It's usually a mobility issue. Right? If you're not gliding well, it is your position in the water with your body that is either acting like a plow or you're acting like a torpedo. Which one do you want to act like? Torpedo. Um, and then we've been having this little debate for the last couple of years because I used to teach this to everybody. We'd kick off the wall, do a double arm pull, kind of take that momentum with you in the stroke, get 10 yards off the wall. A little bit winded, but that's okay. You can get in shape for that. But here's the problem. A lot of people were having a really hard time transitioning out of that double arm pull and back into the stroke. So for some people who really aren't good at that double arm pull and transitioning back into the stroke, you either have the time to practice it or you don't. I have been taking it out of people's swims, especially a non-swimmer who doesn't know what the breaststroke pullout is. Just taking it out altogether. You kick off the wall, hold that glide tight, nice tight streamlined position. Boom, come up for your first breath. And here's what happens. One, you don't lose momentum out of the stroke. Two, you get an extra breath per length. Okay, so that matters to some people and probably will help you with your conditioning issues if you're doing the breaststroke pullout for the first 5 laps, but then you can't do it for the next 5 laps. Just take it out altogether and see how you do. I've seen some people drop 30 to 40 seconds off their best time by taking it out. Now, granted, they were really bad at the pullout, wasn't getting them as far as it normally would, and their transition out of it into the stroke, they just stop in the middle of the pool. Then they have to recreate all that momentum. And the goal of this process is you don't want to waste momentum and you don't want to lose momentum in the stroke. And that's with any swim stroke, really. So when you kick, you want to hold that glide not too long to where you slow down too much and you lost all that momentum for the next stroke. And you don't want to skip the glide and waste all that momentum by just starting the next stroke too soon. So there's a fine line. And usually that fine line is like a 2 to 3 Mississippi glide. And that's where it all came from. So 2 to 3 Mississippis comes from the average of what most people can kick and hold a glide for. And usually, if you're swimming at a yard per second, which is my goal to teach everybody, yard per second, 500 yards, 500 seconds equals an 820 every day. It's almost like clockwork. In fact, it is clockwork. And you will typically glide 2 to 3 yards in that streamlined body position. If you go 4 or 5, you've probably over glided and lost some speed while you're at it. So you want to shorten it up a little bit and go like 2 to 3 Mississippis. All right. So that's it. And you can find all that information right there for free in that article. Tons of videos out there as well. In fact, today will be one of those video days where I will share some videos with you and we can discuss. And that's not even talking about swimming with fins. That's at a different time. All right, so let's see what we have here. No questions over here on Instagram. No questions over here on YouTube. If you have questions, send them. If you don't, that's okay. I'm about to just show you some videos. In fact, I'm going to pull up a video that was sent in this week. Oh, turn the volume down. That's a little loud. Whew. Okay, so let me share my screen. All right, so we're going to kick off the wall. This is one of those things I want you guys to learn about, having a buddy that hooks you up with camera angle. Like, if I can only see half of your body in this video, it's not really helping. Though I can tell you this, the kick is not getting you anywhere. You're not moving after the kick. A lot of that is because of this. Watch this. Look at that. That is not a good streamlined body position recovery of the arms. I mean, that is like, hey, let's swim backwards while I move my arms forward. Because that's what you're doing. Whenever you go top arm, bottom arm, you pull, you're moving forward. But when you recover like that, you're going backwards or stopping. And that's why after this kick, you just go nowhere. I know this is like on the wall, but your kick, from what I can see, doesn't look bad. Got to work on that turnaround. Kick off the wall, could be a little tighter. Double arm pull, not bad. Transitions out of it pretty well. But if you notice your streamlined body position, it looks like you can see it here. You're just swimming like a banana right there. See that? Like that needs to be like those biceps need to be on your ears. Head needs to come down a little bit. You got tight shoulders. And then when you combine that kind of glide with this kind of arm recovery, you're just plowing the water versus acting like a torpedo. Yeah, top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide, top, bottom. But once again, you need to turn your phone sideways so I can see your whole body in this. No need to go vertical. So, cameraman, or next time you ask somebody to do this, actually tell your buddy to turn the phone sideways so you can get your whole body in there. All right, let's see if I can get another one up here. Oh, look at there. Nice. That was easy. So I'll just go through these three here real quick. Kick off the wall. Decent. A little too deep. Oh, we doing underwater swims? Because you don't do that unless you're doing underwater swims. Kick and recover. That looks good. Double arm swim. Yeah. See, you do one arm pull, and then you notice how deep you were. Just do one double arm pull. See that? You're going like almost at a 45-degree angle now. You were so deep. So you just added distance to this 50-meter swim. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. Top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. There's no glide. One Mississippi. Tried to say one Mississippi. Couldn't get it. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. Need to be tighter on that recovery. Need to hold the glide longer. Need to keep your head down whenever you breathe. Let's see how the kickoff is. Oh, this is a 50-meter swim in a 50-meter pool. Top arm, bottom arm. Bottom arm's too big. It can be more of a breaststroke scull instead of that real big sweeping like paddle wheel. Kick could be a little more forceful. Looks like you're not even really doing a scissor kick. It looks like that back leg wants to do a breaststroke kick. Front leg's doing a scissor kick. So you need to work in parallel with your legs, like scissor kick this way, breaststroke this way. Yeah, that's probably the biggest issue you have is your kick is weak because of the awkward motion you're doing with your kick. You need to either have a scissor kick like you have a pair of fins on. In fact, here's what I want you to do. Put on a pair of fins and try what you just did. You'll see you can't do it because when you're coming with that back leg and you're moving with your ankle first, like the side of your ankle is moving in like you're doing a breaststroke kick, you can't do that with a pair of fins on, right? You can only kick with the top and the bottom of your foot. One goes forward, one goes backwards, and they kick and meet in the middle. So you're pushing with the top of it, not the inside of it. That's what you're doing. That back leg is coming in this way. And it just makes a kick really weak. All right, let's try another one. Let's see who this is. Or did we do this one? Yeah, we did this one already. So let's try this one. All right. All right. So kick off the wall. A little too deep. 2 dolphin kicks. Too much. Too many flutter kicks. Don't do this. Come on. Don't do a double arm pull. Don't do 3 double arm pulls. You're killing me. 4. That might as well just do an underwater swim. Come on, man. Come on. You think that's even sustainable? 4 double arm pulls gets you halfway across the pool in a 50-meter pool. I mean, you probably got 20 yards on that one, but absolutely not sustainable. And you're not really doing a whole lot. I mean, you'd be better off breathing. You just missed 4 breaths right there. You think that's going to have a hypoxic effect on you? Yes, it absolutely will. All right, so pop your head up. See all these little flutter kicks? Take those out. Now you're not only hypoxic from not breathing, now you're going to be hypoxic from all those flutter kicks. I bet you got to take a rest after this 50-meter swim here. That's a lot of effort. Top arm needs to look like a freestyle catch. Bottom arm needs to look like a breaststroke skull, which it does. Only thing I like here is your bottom arm. Your kick is jacked up. Good scissor kick, but all those flutter kicks are jacking it up. You're not going anywhere when you do those flutter kicks. You're just getting winded when you glide. You have no rest phase in this stroke. You know, that was 1 minute and 10 seconds, maybe 1 minute and 6 seconds, which is, you know, very slow. So don't do all the flutter kicks during the stroke. Don't do all the double arm pulls off the wall, because you're only going to do it once. You're going to be, I bet when you turned around, you kicked off the wall and came up for your first breath. Didn't even do a double arm pull. Because that's what happens. You just get so winded, you can't do it anymore. I might have one more video to show you guys. And this one's a good one. Thank God. All right. Oh, you know what? It was started off good with a good stream. Look at that streamlined body position. Perfect. Biceps on the ears. And then he does freestyle. I'm like, oh, I forgot this was a freestyle stroke. So this is one of the Air Force guys that sent it to me, wanted me to check out his freestyle. I'm not a good freestyle coach, but I can tell you this is good. You don't get to do flip turns in this one like you would in competition. So my advice to him is this. So there's something called a high elbow return. Keep that elbow high and your hand under it versus your hand over it. And it makes a huge difference on your shoulders getting tired. And you see how you're breathing on one side? Just your stroke's going to be a little bit different. You don't need to bilateral breathe, but you need to kind of rotate over there a little bit, you know, during your stroke, just to get similar pulls, because you can see that breath stroke on the right is different than the stroke on the left. Just a little bit. I mean, it's not going to make that big a difference, not going to make you that much faster. But if you can learn to bilateral breathe, probably going to be a helpful addition to your swimming. That means breathing on odd strokes instead of breathing every 2 strokes. Try breathing every 3rd stroke. So that means you're going to breathe on the left and you breathe on the right. Just something that way you can check both sides of you, especially in open water stuff. All right, that looks like, let me see. I'll try to find a good CSS one. Okay, this one's not bad. I like this one. This is a very short one, and it's one of those that I posted up recently to just show the stroke, right? No kick off the wall, nothing like that. This is just the pure stroke. All right. So all I say in this is I go top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide, or pull, breathe, kick and glide, and it starts over. Pull, breathe, kick and glide. And that bottom arm is probably the only thing he's doing wrong here. Got that big bottom arm. Probably keep his feet together a little bit instead of like his feet are pulling or moving whenever he moves his arms, kind of like a rotational kick when you do freestyle. He does a lot of freestyle more than CSS, kind of learning the CSS now. So keep those feet together during the arms, then kick and hold the glide like that. You're holding the glide well, but when you move your arms, you start kicking like you're doing little flutter kicks, which is very common in freestyle. All right, let's see. So I have gone through the videos. I'm going to now take some questions. And it looks like when you do 500-meter time freestyle swims, are Canadians allowed to kick off the wall every lap? I don't know. I don't know anything about Canadian Special Forces details. I would assume yes, but I have done a few tests over the years where you couldn't kick off the wall. Not sure why, just couldn't kick off the wall. You had to rotate, you had to swim around a buoy in a 50-meter pool. It wasn't for selection or anything, it was just a regular test. I guess it was kind of like you can't kick off the wall in open water swim, so we're not going to let you do it in the pool type of thing. More training than it was testing, if that makes sense. No questions, just thank you, sir. I listened to you before I went to Buds. I was doing great. Didn't get the vaccine, got kicked out. Damn. But thanks for all you do. Thank you, guys. Were you a good swimmer before going? A better question was I a good swimmer when I started training to go Spec Ops? Because I got to be a good swimmer before going. I was a better swimmer than I was a runner, which at first I was a horrible runner and a horrible swimmer. Now, I grew up in Florida, swimming in lakes, rivers, swimming pools everywhere. So I never had a problem with swimming, never was uncomfortable swimming, but my swimming was never competitive. It was basically, playing Marco Polo in the backyards. That was the most that I ever did. So, somebody just asked, have you ever seen a non-swimmer become a Navy SEAL? Absolutely. I mean, I consider myself a non-swimmer. I mean, I was a non-competitive swimmer, if that makes sense. Or I should say a non-swimming athlete. Like I wasn't a swimmer, wasn't a water polo player, didn't have anything to do with water in my sports. So I would consider a non-swimmer athlete one of those land athletes. Okay. You're just developed differently. But yes, in fact, one of my guys a while back ago, he swims across the pool for the first time, and it was horrible. It was probably 20 strokes to get across the pool, and he was struggling the whole time, got across the pool, and I was about to start critiquing him and saying, this is what you're doing wrong. It was like a list of 10 things. And then he's like, yes. And he's all excited. And I'm like, okay, why are you so excited? In my head, that was horrible. He goes, that's the first time I've ever swum across the pool. I'm like, oh, okay. So yes, 6 months later, he went to Buds. A year later, became a SEAL. Yeah, somewhere around there. So yes, I have seen it, and it happens. Was I a good swimmer before going? Before going to Buds, yes, I became a good swimmer. But you know what it took? Because I was a powerlifting football player and didn't even touch the water other than playing Marco Polo, like I said, and playing around. Um, so I had to learn how to swim. I had to learn how to swim a lot. Now I put on a big pair of fins. Nobody could touch me. I mean, I shouldn't say that. There were people better than me still, but I was, I went from being average without fins to above average with fins, largely because I had big legs that could handle the big rocket fins, and that wasn't a problem. So I became a good swimmer. Top 10% Bud's class with the 2-mile swims, probably, I think I had like an 845. Yeah, about an 845, 500 before Buds was my best. And then after Buds, I got really good at swimming, and my fastest I ever did was a 640 swim with fin. So I learned how to swim better, much better after Buds. Now I swim about 8 flat, just playing around. And if I wanted to push it, I could probably do 715. What do I think helped me? Getting in the pool every day. Absolutely. Because I was in the weight room every day before. So I just left the weight room. Any time I spent in the weight room was spent running and swimming. And then all I did was calisthenics. So I spent a good year and a half focusing on calisthenics and triathlon training. And what I mean by that is I ran, swam, and biked. So when I couldn't run because, I was new to running, I just replaced any run that I did was going to do with a bike. And that helped me not get shin splints. It helped me not get knee tendonitis and push myself too much on that. How long did it take me to learn the CSS? Good question. I don't really remember. I remember doing the elementary side stroke first with my first fitness test I took like junior year in college. And then eventually it evolved into the CSS, which some of the swimmers were doing a different version of the elementary side stroke. And I was watching them. And I'll be honest with you, I became a better swimmer by watching better swimmers. Same with treading. I became a better treader by watching people tread water, whether it was a scissor kick, whether it was with fins, egg beater kick, didn't matter. You watch these things underwater and just try to start practicing them. I promise you, you will get better. How deep is the pool at Bud's when you do knot tying, bobbing, etc.? You have 3 depths at the Bud's pool. It's a 3-foot section, which you don't really use that. It's a 9-foot section, and it's a 15-foot section, I think. Pretty sure 15. So you'll do all your knot tying down at the 15, and you'll do all the bobbing and mask retrieval in the 9. You'll do pool comp also in the 9-foot section. How many seconds should you go across a 50-meter pool? A 50-meter pool is 54 yards. So I try to get everybody over there in 54 yards, 54 seconds. Now, if you have to take a 500-meter swim, that means you're swimming 550 yards to do that. So never feel bad that your swim's about a minute slower in a 50-meter pool or a 25-meter pool if you're swimming 500 meters because you're swimming an extra 50 yards. So just know that for every 500 yards you swim, or I'm sorry, for every 500 meters you swim, that's 550 yards. So at Budge, you'll do 1,000-meter swim with fins at the end of prep, and that needs to be about at that yard per second pace. But 1,000 meters is 1,100 yards. So make sure you understand the difference between meters and yards and what kind of distance your pool is. I mean, if when in doubt, just take a long tape measure and measure it. I've actually done that a few times. But if you're doing freestyle, there's no reason why you can't do 50 meters in 50 seconds. Freestyle has always been a little bit faster than the CSS. I'm currently in college, planning to go to police academy about 2 years out from going. I definitely want to get stronger, but also need to improve in running. What should I focus on? I focus on both. Nothing wrong with being able to do both. I would do it this way. I would warm up with calisthenics. I would lift and a little bit of cardio, maybe a mile run or 10-minute bike if running's not your thing yet. Do your lift and then cool down with some cardio. Now that's one day, right? That could be a full body day where you work your whole body lifting. The next day I would do a cardio day only, cardio and stretching. That's it. Now you could also split it up and do upper body, lower body, cardio day, right? But you always have a little bit of cardio at the end of those lifts. Now, if you're going to add cardio to lifting, you also need to eat more. Because if you want to put on muscle, you want to gain some weight, get a little bigger, you got to eat more. So if you want to be big, you got to eat big. And you got to lift big. And if you're running on top of it, you got to eat more. Does that make sense to you? So I would get on a lift cycle. If you really want a good lift cycle, I would suggest something like this. The fall training cycle is a good combo where you are mixing in calisthenics and weights, kind of progressing with the weights. You're kind of coming down. There's a lot of running in it, so you might want to not do the running per se in that one. The spring is kind of similar, but you're going from weights to calisthenics and running more, so it progresses more running. But anyway, you need to check out my seasonal tactical fitness periodization training model and why it matters depending on what element of fitness you're focusing on. Yeah, you can do both, but getting good at both at the same time is difficult. Maintaining both at the same time is really easy. Improving one, maintaining the other is what I recommend doing. And that's what we do with our structure of our workouts all the time. Been doing it for 26 years that way. What do you think about adding a dolphin kick before the pullout while doing underwaters? Sure, I do it all the time. In fact, if you look at my underwaters, you'll see a kick, hold that glide, a dolphin kick, boom, big double arm pull every time. So Stu Smith underwater, put it in the Google machine and see what you get. As a good runner, I struggle with swimming for spec ops. I can run a mile and a half in 6:30. Damn. But can't get sub 14 in the swim, I assume, what the SCC? CSS, probably. Any tips that you may have? Love your videos. Yeah, keep watching the videos. Is that a 6:30 pace or a 6:30 mile and a half? Because that's insane. I mean, that would be, what is a 6:30? I mean, a 7-minute is a 5-minute mile plus a 2-minute half mile. So a 7:30 is a 5-minute mile. A 6:30, it's got to be 4-minute mile, right? Damn. I hope. Oh, okay. I can run a mile and a half in 9:30. Okay. Now it's a little more logical. But I can't get a 14-minute. Any tips on what you have? Love your videos. All right. So it's typo up there. Same answer. Just get in the pool, start swimming, practice the CSS. Send me a video. I'll critique it for you, tell you what you're doing right and wrong. And then you should be doing the 50-50 workout every day you're in the pool. That's what I would do. So that means swim 50 meters free, 50 meters CSS. If you can't do that, go 25-25. 25 free, 25 CSS. Try to get winded with the freestyle. Try to catch your breath with the CSS. Once you start getting good at that and having less rest every set, you're going to be better. I've seen people go from 12 minutes to 9 minutes in about a month. I've seen a couple of guys go from 10 to 8 minutes in 3 weeks. So once you learn the stroke, then start working on your condition. Well, you can work on your conditioning anytime. It's just that I wouldn't do it with CSS because no sense in doing the CSS wrong. So if you want conditioning, go freestyle, practice technique on your CSS. Then apply some of the conditioning that you got from swimming freestyle to your CSS laps. Next thing you know, you're swimming 500 nonstop and you're breaking 9 minutes. How do you feel about lateral transfer? The odds itself. I got selected for SWO, leave for OCS December 5th. Do you have any opinions for priors? I mean, lateral transfers happen all the time. I mean, if you're an enlisted guy, I mean, they will take a whole bunch of enlisted guys to buds. I mean, I don't know what the latest numbers were, but somebody said they had almost 40, 50 guys in their class that were prior enlisted. Some of them had been to buds once before, or were already enlisted, not straight from boot camp, in other words. For SWOs, same thing. I mean, there are SWO lateral transfers. You have to go to SOAS. Not sure if you went to SOAS before, but you have to go to SOAS again as an officer. My advice is go kick butt on your boat, be the best ensign there on the boat, get all your qualifications, and then start putting in your package. They take people from the fleet every year. Probably less competitive than it was out of OCS and ROTC, in my opinion. Just fewer do it. They have fewer numbers, but fewer will do it. All right, let's see here. At the end of your workouts that you have a timed 1.5 miles, should I be close to my PSET time? If you can. That's the reason why we do it at the end, because, you know, what's at the end of that PST? 1.5 miles. So you should be dragging ass going into it and maybe carbing up a little bit, start practicing some fueling strategies. Carb up before that 1.5 miles, find out what sticks better to your stomach versus feeling like crap and being lightheaded by the end of it and, you know, 1.5 minutes slower. So fueling matters when it comes to the PST. Usually I just sip on something that's got some sugar in it, sweet tea, Gatorade, little bit of a bubble gum, you know, it's got sugar in it. None of this fake sugar stuff, but real sugar. I was told the 5-3-1 drill will help my swimming. Can't seem to find anything about the drill. Are you familiar with it? No, I'm actually not. I know a 5-3-1 for when I lift, you know, 5 RM, 3 RM, 1 RM, but I'm not sure what the 5-3-1 drill is. Sorry. I mean, I'd go on YouTube, 5-3-1 swim drill, see if something pops up. But I've never used it, so I can't tell you if it's going to help you on your swim or if it's even needed. I mean, if a non-swimming athlete can get through buds and never hear of a certain drill, does that mean I missed out on that drill? I mean, perhaps maybe it would have been a little bit easier learning how to swim with that drill. I don't know. I just don't know anything about it. Let's see. Been a long time. Your guidance helped me get through basic course and special tactics too. Oh, thank you, sir. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. Good morning. Find out what I stretch before workouts, but I still feel too rigid, not flexible. Better to should I just be patient, or should I devote even more time to stretching? Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly that meant, but yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, warm up better. You know, you don't want to stretch cold So you want to actually warm your body up before you actually stretch. So we usually are running, biking. We do this little half pyramid. Like if we're doing legs, for instance, I'll do a squat and a toe touch, jog 100 meters, do 2 squats, 2 toe touches, and that means like stand up, touch my toes, stand up, touch my toes. So I'm stretching my hamstrings doing a squat. Then I run back 100 yards, do 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, all the way up to 10. So you get 1,000 yards of jogging mixed with 55 squats, if you do the math, and toe touches. And now I go run a mile. That is my warm up. So if you're not spending that kind of time warming up before you stretch, probably is the reason why you're still too rigid. That's my opinion. I don't know. Maybe you're just tight. And then, yes, you need to devote more time to stretching. But it can be dynamic stretches too. You know, some of that 100 yards, we're doing high knees, butt kickers, skipping, side steps, back pedal, Frankenstein walks, you know, so you mix it all in there. I'm a trooper. Thanks for everything you do. Well, thank you. Nice. Nice compliment. Haven't been called a trooper in a while, but I get what you mean. I appreciate it. Oh, all right. Well, looks like I've answered all the questions here. I don't think I missed any. Yep, I got you over there. Got you over here. So, looks like I got all the questions done. You guys go check out stewsmithfitness.com. Tons of stuff over there. I've been writing articles over there forever. Been writing articles for military.com. Seriously, a lot of the articles I write are questions from you. So ask Google the question and put my name in it, and I've probably written something about it. Or you can just email me, especially if it needs to be more specifically addressed towards your situation. Please email me, stew@stewsmith.com. Happy to do that. And I will be back later in the week or early next week to do this again. So every Monday and Tuesday, I take questions and show some videos and do it again the next week. All right, folks, I got to go. You guys have a good one, and I'll see you next week.